All right. So for today's devotion, we had it where last Friday I gave the video from Graham Cook about relentlessness and how God is relentless towards us. And he was talking about how God had been relentlessly kind to him. So, with that being the case, here's what we're going to do for devotions. I am going to ask you to explore what it means to be relentless as well. What does that mean? What does that look like? And how can that change your life? Because ever since I listened to that message from Graham Cook, it really stuck with me. And it actually really changed the way I viewed myself and the way I did life in general. So, with that being the case, here's the deal. We're going to explore this week being relentless in a few different ways. And so, the first thing that we're going to look at today is going to be how can you be relentless with yourself, with loving yourself? And I know I've talked about this before lots. I know, but there's a reason for it. The reason for that is because you cannot love other people the way you're meant to in a wholehearted way if you can't love yourself. It says, love your neighbor as yourself. And so you might be really good at, like, this is for me, quite frankly, this is what most of my life was like, honestly, where I was really good at going through the motions and appearing to love others. And of course I cared. Like I really genuinely cared about those that I was trying to help or be there for, encourage, whatever it might be. But here's the thing, is that inside my mind, my thoughts towards other people, I had it where I either was being quite critical in my thoughts sometimes towards them. I also found that I was pretty judgy at times, even if I didn't verbally say it in my mind. Yeah, fair bit of judging. And then I also had it where when it came to with other people, I found that sometimes I was doing certain things, helping or whatever it might be, because I felt like I needed to, like I had to, I should. And not so much because I genuinely love that person and want the best for them. Sometimes it's just kind of like, oh, I guess I have to do that. And so I did it. And, I obviously tried my best to have a good attitude in the meantime, but it wasn't from a wholehearted place. And sometimes you're just not there. And I'm thinking about times where I've had to help out or whatever it might be, and my heart hasn't been fully in. It doesn't mean that I should not be doing it in the first place. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that if you look at it, sometimes you'll notice that, at least I did anyways, that with me helping other people and me trying to love others and do things that I thought would be good, that would glorify God, I started to realize that a lot of my motives for doing it wasn't necessarily from a place of love. It was, but there's also a lot of insecurity in there. There was a lot of feeling like I had to do this to prove my worth as a friend or to prove my worth as a daughter or as a teacher or whatever it might be, or as a Christian, that I had to do it to be able to prove my worth and my value in that capacity. And that's not being wholehearted. That's not loving. That's not really loving. And so, what would it look like if you had it where, let's say, each time you mess up, you get anxious, you get insecure, you make a wrong choice, whatever it might be? What if instead of having it where you shame yourself and you spiral further and further down, what if instead you had it where you decided to unconditionally love yourself? And here's the idea of what I mean. This is what I've been experimenting with lately, because honestly, I'm my own worst enemy. Like some days I'm doing well and I feel like I've got a good groove going on. I feel like I'm doing well overall. But then there's a time where, let's say, something just does not go as I hoped it would. And despite my best attempts, I didn't communicate well and someone got upset, or I had a lesson that flopped. I didn't get on top of marking as quickly as I should have, or even just things like, oh, I stayed up too late and I can't believe I did that. I'm so stupid, things like that. And I get so caught up in thoughts like that on a regular basis. And so I've been learning to stop myself to just stop it when I start going down that rabbit trail and be like, okay, wait a minute, just a moment here. Yeah, maybe I should have gone to bed earlier. Yeah, maybe I should have communicated better. Yeah, maybe I had a bad attitude in that moment and that just didn't go well. And of course, there's always a time and a place for being able to apologize, to make things right. All those different things are very important. But what's going on inside? Are you holding on to anger at yourself for messing up? Are you holding on to insecurity and fear that someone's gonna not want to be your friend anymore because you screwed up or didn't handle things perfectly? Are you staying up at night and having those thoughts coming back to your mind over and over and over, and you're just feeling worse and worse and worse about yourself? I know that happens to me frequently. And so I'm learning to have it where I stop myself and be like, okay, I'll actually talk to myself, whether it's in my mind or just outright verbally sometimes, especially at nighttime. I'd be like, Crystal, you messed up. I still love you. I will love you unconditionally no matter what. And I am with you. I'm going to embrace you just as you are right now. I know you're feeling anxious. I know you're feeling bad about how things went or whatever it might be. I get it. I'm with you. And I will love you no matter what. I approve of you as a whole person and I got you. I'm with you. And I know that sounds funny. Like, I know that might sound really funny to talk to yourself that way. But oh my word, it's been really helping. I've been finding that I am no longer becoming my own worst enemy. I'm learning to have compassion for myself. I'm learning to not get so angry with myself when I mess up, or to not hold on to that anger as long, or hold on to that insecurity or that shame or guilt, condemnation, whatever it might be. Because honestly, I found that I was judging myself so harshly a good chunk of the time. And I would be trying to strive and push and force things so that I could do better next time. Whereas I'm learning as I just simply love myself and have a lot of compassion on myself when things don't go the way I want it to. Wow. I come off of that anxiety. I come off of that insecurity. I come off of that guilt and that shame quite quickly. And I feel like I'm better able to make things right if I need to, but I'm also better able to just simply let it go and just forgive myself and love myself and move forward rather than getting stuck in that moment with just how awful I feel about myself. So that's my encouragement to you, is when that happens and you feel like you messed up in some way, or you're just getting really anxious, really stressed out, insecure, whatever it might be, it's going to happen. It's going to happen at different times. How do you handle it? Can you learn to be a good friend to yourself? Be relentless. Be relentless no matter how badly you screw up, no matter how badly you feel you did not perform very well at all. No matter how bad that might be, can you still love yourself unconditionally, no matter what? Can you still outrageously, ridiculously, lavishly love yourself and be kind to yourself, even when you don't deserve it? Can you do that? Because I guarantee you, the more you start to do that, the better able you are to do that for other people as well. And you also find that you start to view God differently. You don't view him as someone who's just waiting for you to mess up so he can just pound you or whatever. He is looking at you through the lens of love. And of course, he sees areas that you mess up. He's not an idiot, but he still sees the gold that he put in you. And he's calling that out, especially when you feel stuck. And that's his focus, not on how awful you are, but on the gold he's placed there. And he's just helping you be like, hey, this is what's missing. Let me help you with that. So can you do that for yourself? Look at yourself with deep compassion and kindness and love and be like, okay, yeah, don't like that part very well, but I am going to love myself and I'm going to focus on what I know God has put in me. Like, let's say if you know that who you are, you genuinely try to be a good friend to others, but maybe you mess up at some point and you just felt really flaky. Guess what? If your heart honestly is to be able to love other people and to be a good friend, you might have had some flaky moments, but you're not a flaky person. God didn't make you to be flaky. So focus on the truth that you are someone who's dependable. You are someone who is a good friend at the core of who you are. You just had a flaky moment. That's it. You can make that right, but you're not a flaky person. And that helps you love yourself better. And it helps you be able to navigate your relationships with other people better too. So that's my challenge to you. Be relentlessly kind and loving towards yourself. Relentless, especially when you feel like you don't deserve it. Do that on a regular basis. Sometimes it has to be hour by hour, minute by minute, but see what happens. I guarantee you, if you stick with it, things are going to change big time. All right, I'll see you later.